Hello and welcome to the Drawing Room Experts. This is Zaib, and with me I have Zan after a huge gap.
Yeah, I mean, last time करी क्या थी हमने? I can't even
I think
remember.
नवेद के
Must have
साथ करी
been
थी हमने.
must have been early in the summer or something. Time हो गया काफी.
हाँ, exactly टाइम हो गया. बल्कि इस पॉडकास्ट जिसके लिए हम करना चाह रहे हैं, इसको तो बहुत अरसे से करना चाह रहे हैं.
हाँ, I mean, it
इस
was due, then it was shelved, but it was due again. मतलब it's been it's been a long time coming.
टाइम और ये वो एक तो तुम्हें और नवेद को पकड़ना इतना अजाब होता है.
पता है ये सारी ऐसा लगता है कि he spends like अपना weekend किरियाना स्टोर पे हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ फैमिली का काम करना होता है उसके बाद weekend पे.
अबे उसकी
As
तो
I
शादी कब है उसकी?
guess that like
और
on
तुम कब जा रहे हो?
I'm flying out tomorrow. So,
टुमारो. ओके. तुम संडे को
हाँ तो
जाएंगे, संडे मॉर्निंग.
मैं संडे नाइट को पहुंचूंगा और इसकी फिर ट्यूसडे को शादी.
तो तुम छुट्टी ली है ऑफिस से?
हाँ छुट्टी है.
अच्छा, पूरा वीक. अच्छा, वैसे भी ठंडा होगा सीन.
नहीं एग्जैक्ट
एंड ऑफ द
नहीं
ईयर.
अदर देन मंडे मैंने सारा ऑफ लिया हुआ है. मंडे वाला दिन थोड़ा काम है मगर वो भी सिर्फ लाइक एएम.
नाइस. तो फिर तुम
या
रिलैक्स करोगे, चिलिंग करोगे.
या होपफुली कोई 11th आवर इश्यूज नहीं बट आई थिंक इट्स ओके.
वो तुम्हारा मसला रिजॉल्व हुआ क्या? अम्मी
कौन सा
बताई तुम्हें आज भी जाना है?
जॉब पे?
हाँ.
नहीं आज तो नहीं हुई. इस वीकेंड नहीं
सैटरडे को कह रही
थैंकफुली.
थी, सैटरडे को जाना है, ये आई डोंट नो.
नहीं भाई थैंकफुली इस सैटरडे को नहीं जाना. लास्ट टू सैटरडे से तो जा रहा है.
अच्छा अच्छा. खैर एनीवे, अच्छा है. चलो, एंड ऑफ द ईयर फेस्टिविटीज. और तुम भी एक और यानी कि बंदे की शादी अटेंड करोगे. वैसे लेट्स होप कि वो किस तरह का सीन होता है वहाँ पे, गिवन गिवन ऑल द रिस्ट्रिक्शंस जो उसने प्लेस
या
कर रखी हैं नवेद ने. तो
या
खैर एनीवे,
या let's see
गुड
let's see.
लक टू हिम. गुड लक टू हिम एंड होपफुली
Yeah, next time he joins this
होपफुली
podcast, he'll be a married man, which is interesting.
इफ ही जॉइन्स द पॉडकास्ट. अभी तो
If
उसको उसकी अपनी भी तो चल रही है, और अपनी अभी कितनी चलेगी नहीं चलेगी ये भी नहीं पता, क्योंकि उसकी
हाँ
अपनी बड़ी
उसकी
वो है.
गेमिंग वाली चल रही है ना अभी.
हाँ, उसकी लेकिन अपनी जो पॉडकास्ट है वो बहुत वो है. It relies on activity, right? क्योंकि you have to either play the game or finish the game or
It
watch
is
the movie.
it is yeah. You have to stay current to be on it.
हाँ,
Like
तो आपको
उस
कुछ कुछ
पूरे
करना
पे.
पड़ेगा. नहीं, कुछ टाइम
Yeah
स्पेंड करके और फिर मजीद टाइम स्पेंड करना पड़ेगा टू टॉक अबाउट इट.
yeah. उसमें
एटलीस्ट
मूवी
इस
फाइलिंग नहीं कर
पॉडकास्ट में.
सकते.
हाँ, इसमें नहीं कर सकते. इस पॉडकास्ट में एटलीस्ट ये है कि द इट्स डिजाइन इन अ वे कि जिसमें कोई ऐसा कोई एक्सटेंसिव होमवर्क
Yeah,
रिक्वायर्ड
I
नहीं है.
mean it's podcast का premise ही है ना. You're just basically sitting in a drawing room and talking and stuff, and
हाँ, एग्जैक्टली
it
उसका.
doesn't have to be researched to that to
हाँ.
the nth degree.
It,
Obviously, we like to be educated on things we're talking about,
हाँ,
but still, you don't have to
एग्जैक्टली.
like do 5 days of prep and write a dissertation and talk about.
हाँ,
So
कोई कोई वो रिसर्च कोई यहाँ पर वो नहीं
mm,
चल रही, और वो ऐसा कोई कोई हम वो नहीं दे रहे होते कि यार आपको यहाँ से जब आप सुन के जाएंगे तो यू विल बी ऑल नोइंग अबाउट अ सब्जेक्ट. तो that's not the intention at all. but खैर
yeah,
anyway, how have you been? क्या चल रहा है?
good. I mean, so तुम तो चले गए
I
जब I
was
mean
there.
before
I know.
before the before the
Last week.
cold really hit. मगर उसके
I
बाद
know.
it's been basically you missed the snow by a day I think. उसके बाद फिर चल
I
ही रही है
saw
तब से snow.
I think I saw some dusting when I was there.
Must have been just yeah just a
जब
there
मैं
was
उधर
very
डाउनटाउन में था,
dust. हाँ
तो
हाँ.
अरीब आया हुआ था ऑफिस में, तब हमने देखी थी थोड़ी बहुत. लेकिन I didn't like
That would
एक्सपीरियंस
have
इट. बस ऐसे
been your
ऑफिस से
first.
देखी
नहीं
थी
नहीं
मैंने.
तुम एक दफा आए तो थे यहाँ पे तुम
हाँ
विंटर में.
हाँ, करी है
Because I
मैंने.
was
स्नो करी है यहाँ पे.
because I was gonna say that would have been your first snow experience in Chicago.
नहीं
But
नहीं
no,
बे.
no, you're here in
नहीं नहीं
Spain
नहीं.
now.
2015 में
अरे
तुम्हारे साथ.
हाँ फिर हम जो freezing temperature में वहाँ भी तो गए थे Niagara and all that. तब भी तो snow हो रही थी.
हाँ हाँ. नहीं, तब
Yeah.
उस वक्त स्नो नहीं थी.
It's snow
लेकिन
and sleet type का scene था. मगर तुमने देखी
उस
होगी
ट्रिप
snow
में
because that was in
उस ट्रिप में
December.
क्रिसमस तक मैं क्रिसमस से बहुत पहले आया था, और उस ट्रिप में क्रिसमस के बाद
Yeah.
स्नो पड़ी थी.
Yeah. हाँ मेरे दिमाग में ये वो नहीं आ रहा.
हाँ, वो फर्स्ट. लेकिन मैं जब आया था तो तुम्हारे उधर जो बैक यार्ड था उसमें पूरी स्नो तो थी, लदी भी तो थी.
हाँ एक कम्युनिटी थी क्योंकि फिर उसके बाद वो जाने का मौका ही नहीं मिलता बिकॉज
हाँ
के बाद से.
हाँ हाँ. खैर चलो, By the way, मैं अभी देख रहा था कि speaking of like we're gonna talk about this album by this band called Inhaler, and we'll get to it. But speaking of albums, um, are you aware कि इस साल Red Hot Chili Peppers की 2 albums आई हैं?
I thought it was a double
17.
album. Was it a double album?
No, 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 no. The first one, which was
Black Summer.
Black Summer, तो उनका single था ना.
हाँ उस
वो
album
album का
single
नाम क्या
was
था?
it?
Album का नाम क्या था?
Now I have to look it up because I heard that album. I actually enjoyed it.
Uh, ब्लैक समर थी, और अबे भैंस, एक तो यहाँ पर एक रेस्टोरेंट का नाम भी रेड हॉट चिली पेपर है, वो खुल गया.
Unlimited Love.
अनलिमिटेड लव आई थी मई में आई थिंक. और फिर अभी कुछ दो दो ढाई महीने पहले आई है द रिटर्न ऑफ द ड्रीम कैंटीन.
Well, why are they releasing 2 albums in a year?
17 songs each, by the way.
I
तो
think
पता है मैं इसके
they're
बारे में,
back to their prolific phase because वो आ गया ना
आई डोंट, हाँ वो एंथनी, वो क्या नाम है उसका,
Frusciante से तो
फ्रशांटे वापस आया इस एल्बम में. लेकिन वो मैं अभी पढ़ रहा था उसमें, तो यू नो व्हाट दे पिच टू द रिकॉर्डिंग स्टूडियो बिफोर दीज
क्या
2 एल्बम्स. उन्होंने कहा था कि हम एक एल्बम निकालते हैं 40 सॉन्ग्स ओवर 7 CDs, 7 सीडियाँ. तो
why
थैंकफुली सम सेंस प्रिवेल्ड. उन्होंने बोला पागल के पागल हो गए हैं, कौन कौन करेगा. एक तो नंबर वन सीडियाँ कोई खरीदेगा, एक तो तू पूरी प्लेलिस्ट पे कर 40 सॉन्ग्स की प्लेलिस्ट है, एल्बम तो नहीं है वो, इट्स लाइक अ प्लेलिस्ट.
that's a quadruple album double album तो गई बात that's a quadruple
एग्जैक्टली. तो वो
never
उन्होंने
been done
40, खैर फिर वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज ये हुआ कि 2 एल्बम्स 6 months अपार्ट, 17 सॉन्ग्स ईच, यानी कि देयर हैज टू बी 6 songs समवेयर दैट they
जो क्या कहते हैं extras या deluxe whatever you want
didn't make the cut, which is interesting. Like out of the 40, like I'm more interested in those 6 songs कि वो
yeah
कौन से थे जो बैंड के यहाँ उन्होंने वो काट दिए. क्योंकि मैंने भी इनकी
yeah
अनलिमिटेड लव सुनी थी. अनलिमिटेड लव वाज गुड, वाज डिसेंट.
I
उसमें
liked
कुछ
it like
कुछ कुछ
लेकिन
गाने
है
अच्छे हैं, कुछ
like
कुछ
stadium
गाने अच्छे हैं.
arcadium feels this में थोड़े बहुत I
ब्लैक ब्लैक
like
ब्लैक समर का स्पेशली था थोड़ा सा उसमें, दैट वाज गुड.
yeah yeah
और दो तीन और गाने थे जो मुझे अच्छे लगे थे. दिस वन ड्रीम कैंटीन, इट्स नॉट मेमोरेबल. इफ यू लिसन टू इट, इट्स नॉट मेमोरेबल एट ऑल.
मैंने सुनी नहीं है अभी but I did think कि जो क्या नाम था उसका Klinghoffer era is underrated because I think they did some good stuff during that time
विद द प्रीवियस वन, राइट. हाँ, लाइक
yeah
मेरी
yeah
उनकी रिसेंट पास्ट में
मुझे
फेवरेट एल्बम जो है वो
Get Away मुझे बहुत पसंद थी
गेट अवे मुझे बहुत पसंद है. आई लव गेट अवे. आई थिंक
yeah
इट्स probably at par with स्टेडियम आर्केडियम.
मुझे तो
मेरे
बहुत
मेरे
पसंद
मेरे
है
ओपिनियन,
I really
क्योंकि वो
love
बड़ी
that album
कंसाइज है. वो उसकी एल्बम है ना, क्या नाम है, डेंजर माउस की एल्बम है ना वो.
Then there must be one yes
तो दैट आई
well
रियली लाइक
produced
द वर्क दैट
well
डेंजर माउस
written
डिड. वेल
and
रिटन एज वेल, एग्जैक्टली. दैट्स अ मोर, क्योंकि अभी सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम मुझे इस जो लास्ट एल्बम थी इनकी रिटर्न ऑफ द ड्रीम कैंटीन में लगा कि इट वाज, इट्स लाइक he was just like making lyrics up, just which is classic,
that's
Anthony.
so Cadis का यही I think
Ki-
his hallmark is कि he's just rhyming for rhyming sake sometimes
I think in this album it's most because you're like, what are you trying to say? Like, what is your what are you trying to get at? कुछ गाने हैं जिसमें when you for example इसमें गाना उन्होंने एडी वैन हेलन के लिए लिखा था, सॉन्ग का नाम भी एडी है. दैट्स अ गुड सॉन्ग.
okay
वैन हेलन आई थिंक मरा था ना इस साल.
yeah
तो
it's
वो
almost
उसकी
like the क्या कहते हैं I am the walrus syndrome because you're just rhyming stuff uh, and it was from a Beatles side it was like
and
a one
they were also they are also in the middle of a tour right now.
are they
By the way,
अरे
yeah,
हाँ
yeah.
ऐसा
अभी
actually Navid
नवेद
went
गया
to
था.
actually हाँ गया तो था
हाँ, no.
हाँ गया था
So they're in
यार
the middle of a tour. The middle of
yeah
a tour, stadium tours हैं वो, and they released like a second album. I'd be surprised how many numbers from the first album, like the Unlimited Love album, they're playing in the tour already, and then they have
yeah
17 more
because
songs, which I doubt they're gonna play on the tour because
yeah
I think it. क्या फर्क क्या पड़ता अगर अगले साल कर देते? It would have been like 2 albums in 2 years. People जो उनके fans होते वो तो फिर भी कहते हैं यार, this is amazing. 2 albums in 2 years,
yeah and
17
then
songs.
and then people start liking some songs then they stop playing them immediately जिससे मुझे मुझे क्या कहते हैं आपका No Land on the Horizon the tour से याद आता है because I remember in the second half of it they stopped playing Breathe for some reason because I think they had moved on
They stopped playing most of the songs from the
yeah
album.
and I loved Breathe live which is why I missed that song the most at that time.
I
So
actually loved most of that album. I don't know why people like shit on it. No Line on the Horizon. I think it's a very solid क्या कहते हैं उसे instrumental piece और एक थोड़ा सा एक हटके एल्बम थी. It's not like a lot of U2 songs in there apart from maybe a couple. It's a lot of like, it's like what they were doing,
वो
they
कौन सा गाना था
they
that
enjoyed.
what was it? Fez, like for example Fez.
Fez,
Yeah,
Fez,
that's a great,
which is
great
again very topical right now because of Morocco.
yes, yes. So that album has a very uh, North African vibe, let's say. Yeah. So
Fez था
Northwest Africa.
और even like Unknown Caller, I went back to it recently. I really enjoyed that song. बहुत
Great
अच्छा है
live
उसकी.
song. Actually, that song was better live. Actually,
It was उसकी वाइब बहुत अच्छी है. Like I love the guitaring और उसकी
yeah.
मूवमेंट बड़ी अच्छी लगती है मुझे उस गाने की. Like उसकी टेम्पो बहुत अच्छा है. um, तो
One of
बहरहाल अबे
like weird
अबे
psychedelic.
तुम अपना मोबाइल ना बिल्कुल माइक के मुंह पे रखा हुआ. तुमने जब वहीं पर रखते हो तो वो पूरी गूंजती है
अबे
आवाज
यार,
तुम्हारे मोबाइल.
अबे यार, क्या मसला है?
या तो उसकी वाइब्रेशन खत्म करो ताकि वो भैं भैं ना करे मुंह
हाँ
पे.
मैंने डाल दिया This is like quality control. चलो ठीक है.
हाँ खैर खैर. तो बहरहाल तो 17 songs in that album, and I that makes me wonder, and I'm actually hoping to talk to शाहरुख of बना. तुमने बयान का नया गाना सुना है by the way?
No, कब आया?
तो बताया तो था अभी जो आया था एक दो हफ्ते पहले
Oh
तेरांग.
yes, yes, actually मैंने नहीं सुना. How is it? मैंने
Listen to it. It's very good, very good, very 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 good. Like
is it
obviously
typical?
Asfar, it's a typical Bayan song, but Asfar is writing again, brilliant, one of the best writers in the country by some shot, I think.
No doubt.
um, तो लेकिन द पॉइंट वाज मैं कह रहा था कि सॉन्ग राइटिंग की मैं सोच रहा था कि जब
Hmm.
मैं एंथनी को सुन रहा था ऑन द रेड हॉट चिली पेपर्स एल्बम, तो आई वाज वंडरिंग कि what, does he have something to say? Like, is he just writing songs just for the sake of it, or does he really have something to say? Because if he has something to say, I don't understand what he's saying.
But I mean, even if you do have something to say, um, you have to have some kind of a quality control mechanism. 40 गाने or 34 over 6 months.
Uh,
I think it's you have to let songs breathe too, right? Um,
right.
I mean,
थोड़ा सा उसको
it's
marinate होने दें. Although I think the first rock band to have two number one albums in a year.
good for them.
तो
Although उससे पहले they hadn't had 5 से 6 साल तो हो गए होंगे कि उससे पहले एल्बम आई थी उसके आने के बाद. So I guess they have been sitting on a lot of ideas. Let's just say,
they probably have, and
yeah,
but they weren't. They were just recently started working with Frusciante though again, right? ऐसा
yeah,
तो नहीं था
yeah.
कि कुछ 6 साल से बैठे हैं उसके साथ.
Yeah, and I remember reading an article about how they fired their old guitarist. It was actually quite sad, um, but in a
Why did
very
they fire
non
him?
because John wanted to come back, and it's a one guitarist band, right? Red Hot Chili Peppers. They don't have the sound
Uh,
for like a rhythm and lead type scenario. और उसमें actually मेरे ख्याल से मुझे याद पड़ा फ्ली ने इसको fire किया था. It's not like a it's almost like a corporate firing as opposed to a rock band firing because rock
okay,
band
your
when you
surplus to requirements.
yeah, when exactly like sort of if you made him redundant essentially, um, like David Brent,
Please don't make me
but
redundant.
yeah, and basically his reaction भी ऐसा था. He was like on the verge of tears, but then he took him for a dinner and stuff like that. They said their thanks.
He's a good guitarist.
Okay,
I'm sure he'll find work somewhere else.
yeah,
Maybe like
yeah, he is. He's a very good guitarist, very very good guitarist. But I don't know what he's
at
doing now. Is
points
he
in
a
that
session
at
player?
points in the yeah at points in the Getaway album, I felt like he was trying too much. But
Yeah,
overall, I felt like that was a very strong album from him. Very very
yeah,
strong album.
very very strong. And live he plays all the Pepper song flawlessly. जो उसने लिखे भी नहीं है, like Frusciante is
Ah,
like a great guitar player. I don't know कर क्या रहा है वो. He's like young too. He's like 10, 15 years younger than all the others in the band, I think. But maybe he's like doing his own thing or playing session. I don't know. But shout out to Josh Klinghoffer. I remember his name.
hmm.
Good player. Yeah, good guitar player. But yeah, speaking of guitar playing, what did you think about the guitar? Uh, I think effort. on the Inhaler album. It's a nice segue, actually, because from my perspective, the person in the band I noticed the most was the drummer. I don't know if you felt the same.
No, because it's खैर उस पे अभी बात करेंगे. I think
Hmm.
generally I feel like क्योंकि वो uh, because of the genre of the music, which I perceive it as like indie rock,
It's like synth,
um,
indie synth
synth
pop
indie
rock.
synth.
Yeah.
Synths are bound to be the most loudest, not loudest, but the most prominent elements of the band and the
Huh.
music that they play. But just quickly rounding up on some of the bands that we follow. Obviously, U2 has been pretty active in the past few months.
Yes.
Did you get the new book, by the way?
I have not gotten the book, but I will. I have been planning on getting
Downloaded?
it over the on my. I would not get the
Like
hardcover. उस पे Kindle.
as a Kindle or पढ़ोगे? So we
Yeah.
should do definitely a review of the book, by the way. Just finish it
तो मैं
up.
पढ़
मैं
ले
अभी
गया
बीच में
पढ़
चल
ले
रहा हूँ. I'm बीच में हूँ मैं अभी.
कितने इसमें वो
तो
हैं सफ़े कितने सफ़े हैं
अपना 40 songs हैं. It's like 40 songs है ना basically.
या
40 songs हैं. Let me see. I have it here. Um,
Ooh,
it's like this thick. Um, there's a lot of drawings in there too, by the
songs
way.
of surrender.
तो इसमें ड्राइंग्स भी ऐसी खासी हैं और फिर वो भी हैं आफ्टर वर्ड्स वगैरह भी हैं. तो अगर आप सब 550 पेजेस की. That's a songwriter's
Okay.
album. That's a songwriter's book, actually. 550
It's
pages की.
yeah, but it's not like you said. I mean, there's a lot of
Like
visuals.
pictures हैं और वो भी
Yeah,
visuals भी हैं और वो like illustrations भी हैं उसमें. तो we should definitely do this one because as much as I've read, I think it's a thrilling book. Like amazingly written, like poetically
mm,
written, as you would expect from Bono.
yes,
और बड़ा एक अच्छा लाइक उसमें एक पूरी जो उसमें एक उर्दू में नहीं कहते मंजर कशी जो करी हुई है
right,
वो
right.
वो बड़ी जबरदस्त है यार like it's so like every song has like some sort of a background that he's trying to get at.
So what's the
um
timeline from what time to what time does it
so
cover?
it's basically 40 songs that that reflect different times of his life and the band's life.
Oh, so across the
So
discography, basically.
across the discography, but it's not like कि पहले वो start करेंगे boy से ऐसा नहीं है. For example, पहला जो गाना है और पहला जो chapter है, it's Lights of Home.
Okay, then one of the more recent ones. Say,
हाँ,
say.
recent songs like last song basically last album का song. But then
Mhm.
he goes back to I think what was it? I will follow or something like that. So
So ठीक
out
है,
of control, sorry, out of
I
and then
get the
goes back
concept.
to Iris and Cedarwood Road. I'm glad and I'm happy कि recent album के गाने भी is
So
making
he's
his
honoring those songs. Yes.
because then I love that album and I feel like it should get more like I'm happy that they're owning up to it because जैसे मैंने कहा था ना वो No Line on the Horizon they kind of like it felt like they gave up on the album too quickly.
Yeah.
So with this I feel like they're doing justice to it and it was prominent in the tour as well because they almost played all songs from that album or uh they and if that meant not playing anything from the Joshua Tree they did that. So at the expense of like the bigger hits they actually did it. Like I don't know if you noticed there was another thing in the news about 2023's potential tour and Larry
I thought it
Mullen's
was like
injury.
a lot of rumors about it, but I did not hear
It
anything
was very strong
concrete.
rumors too because Las Vegas के अंदर they're opening this new place like mm, live arcadium place or something arena and they wanted you to headline it like a Las Vegas residency. But obviously, you two can't do residencies yet. They're not like a
Yeah,
heritage
because
act.
yes.
Um, and I think Bono and The Edge have been very vocal about not sounding like a heritage act.
Hmm.
Um,
But Larry has an
so
injury. He has to get like surgery. He has to get
uh,
surgery, right? Yeah.
that's what the thing was. Okay, that came out really. awkwardly क्योंकि the right before the क्या था वो यार वो जो इंडक्शन हुई थी इनकी um, कौन सा है वो जो अवार्ड मिलता है कोई अभी जिसमें सब थे ये लोग
It's getting me.
अह, खैर मुझे नाम याद नहीं आ रहा उस चीज़ का खैर वो बड़ा फेमस हुआ है जिसमें अभी बहुत सारे बैंड्स को मिल चुका है लेड जेपलिन को मिल चुका है वो पता नहीं किस किसको तो उससे एक दिन पहले एक आर्टिकल आया था जिसमें Larry kind of like sounded like as if he was pissed and not interested and he said कि पता नहीं बैंड के क्या plans next year मेरी तो surgery I want to get better तो I don't know if the tour will go ahead without me or not तो something along those lines तो उसमें फिर बाकी लोगों की पड़ गई थी कि भाई क्या लाइक इज द बैंड ओवर और ये क्या हो क्या रहा है क्योंकि उसमें बीच में ना ये भी कहानियां चल रही थी कि द बैंड वाजंट टू प्लीज्ड विद लाइक पोनो डूइंग द जो भी उसका टूर चल रहा है ना तो पता है ना इसका अभी
हाँ
जो बुक टूर
book
है
का tour. Yeah.
बुक शो एंड ही इज डूइंग लाइक एक्सटेंडेड शोज नेक्स्ट ईयर इन न्यूयॉर्क सिटी अगेन
Yep.
तो उसमें भी कहा था क्योंकि ही इज बेसिकली प्लेइंग यू टू सॉन्ग्स हिमसेल्फ ऑल्दो वो स्ट्रिप्ट वर्जन हैं और थोड़े से वो उसमें स्पोकन लेटर्स भी हैं बीच में जो भी है लाइक इट्स अ डिफरेंट शो
Mm-hmm.
बट उसमें लोग कुछ लाइक उसमें वो भी चल रही थी कि दे प्रॉब्ली they're not they didn't like it कि यार कि ये क्या यानी कि basically using the band's you know intellectual property
Further his own
to
product. Yeah.
further his own book. But at the end of the day, I think to Bono's credit, the book doesn't sound like his own memoir. Actually, he makes it a big case that like everything is around the band, so it's kind of like a band's memoir. He actually
Mm.
writes at the cover of the book. It says he writes um, a book of how, who, and why. एंड फिर नीचे लिखा है मेमोir फिर उसको उसने काट के लिखा है अ वी मोर
Okay.
यानी कि
So he's
वी मोर हाँ
so
हाँ
it's making it clear that it's not like
हाँ and then
unilateral type of.
the chapters you read you kind of like make sense obviously there are chapters that has to do with his family
Hmm.
which is obviously there but ऐसा नहीं है कि वो फिर वो completely about his family and then you don't hear about anything else going on around
Right.
he talks a lot about his childhood and talks a lot about the band ये तो मैंने वो excerpt भेजा था जिसमें उसने he mentions the shirt that Adam was wearing the Pakistan 76 shirt
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
which is so Adam right कि he would wear that like completely off off brand something completely off that never no one would wear
Yeah.
um,
Outside of
but
him. Yeah.
anyway I think that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about which is
Yeah.
Inhaler
Yes.
um, I think I introduced you to this band.
Yes, you did. I knew his son was in music, but I actually did not know he had uh, actually a band that has
Huh.
actually produced an album. Um,
I
so
was I was kind of like
this
not
was a
following
year
them.
ago, I think, maybe.
This was yeah, a year ago or
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't following them per se, but I obviously like मेरे timeline पे आता रहता है कि ये like related anything to you too, right? तो उसमें I was listening, I was hearing that they are doing like underground gigs,
Right.
in
Right.
Dublin, all of that. So I wasn't listening to any songs. And prior to this album, they've had singles. I never listened to them before. So जब album release हुई मैंने कहा let's give it a shot and when I started listening and this is about the same time when I'm almost getting into Pakistani indie music.
Mm, mhm.
तो एक मुझे indie music की appreciation recently, through the likes of Muru and through the likes of Hassan Rahim, through the likes of I don't know different artists in Pakistan. मुझे थोड़ी सी ज़्यादा उसकी appreciation. So then when I heard that this is a kind of like a Sindhi pop, Sindhi कह रहा हूँ, synth pop
Mm,
indie rock type album, so I was intrigued and I wanted to listen to it. So when I
yeah.
started listening to it, and that's when I realized, okay, this is right up my alley, and I'm really enjoying it because it's not a lot of
Yeah.
like, it's a lot of melodies with meaningful kind of lyrics, um, and it has a lot of like early U2 vibes, to be honest. Um,
The singing does, I think, for sure.
the singing does, and I think the themes
Absolutely.
also. I mean, the themes also kind of like they're not speaking about romance and girls and
Yeah,
which you would
and some of the
expect. Like,
songs they are, but they're thinking about like youth, which is very
yeah,
U2 on brand, especially in their
right,
earlier albums. And like I said, I think the understated musicianship is very U2 because then no one's trying to stand out as a musician, which is good,
true.
right?
Yes, yes, I
Even
enjoy that.
I think it's very complimentary. Like the guitar playing is very complimentary. The
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bass, the rhythm section is very complimentary. So you
Hmm.
to have, I think that's basically, I think one in part born out of the fact that um, well, it's an offshoot of U2 in some sense, right?
Yeah, no,
But
to
I
my
think music different. I
हाँ,
think काफी मुख्तलिफ है.
music बहुत different. हाँ, this is not nothing anything
Yeah.
you two did or has done in the past. So, but एक interesting मैं तुम्हें चीज बताऊं,
Hmm.
which I have been kind of thinking about, and I want to
Hmm.
hear your thoughts on,
Right.
is this weird psychological thing that I have, where listening to them, it I don't know, being associated to this band kind of like felt like, okay, you're friends with like you're friends with your friend's son or something like
Hmm.
that, which is
Yeah.
kind of like weird. You get to feel the uncle vibes, right? You're kind of like, hey, and then when I look at their ages, they're closer to my ages than I'm closer to Bono's age.
Yeah. hundred
So
percent.
so so there's always like I have to like remind myself that I'm not listening to like, like from like, oh देखते हैं यार, हम तो आपके अब्बा को सुना करते थे, आपके अब्बा तो
Yeah.
बहुत
Yeah.
वाला सीन नहीं है
But
इसमें.
it does feel like it's part of that tree, though. Although musically,
It is, it
it
is.
is, but they also have their own identity, which is good. It's not like listening to a rehash of YouTube by someone
Oh,
else,
no,
right?
no, no, not
Which
not
is
by
good.
any stretch, which is good. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
I would admit, Kim, I was introduced to them through YouTube. Like a lot of musicians that I have been introduced through
yeah,
YouTube.
and I don't think he's trying to say, "Okay, by I've made it without name recognition." And
Oh
the
yeah,
fact that
I'm
he
sure.
is the bonus son has basically catapulted him or the band over others who may have been equally as talented, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is. That's the luck of the draw.
I mean,
Okay,
there's a good shot that that Inhaler would open for you too somewhere down the line. I
it's
think I wouldn't
possible.
be
Yeah,
surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if that happens. I mean, I think
I
they
think
have opened
it would be pretty
for
cool actually.
I think they've opened for what's his name, Noel Gallagher and the Flying
And the
whatever,
flying birds.
and the
Yes.
Flying Birds. Yeah. So again, Noel is a friends with the band, right? Friends with
Yeah.
Bono. So obviously you get that access to these artists
So
through
that's
your
a good
father.
sign. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, on merit, I feel like they kind of stand. But where do you want to start? Would you want to start with the band members first? Give
Okay,
me
let's do
a
that.
give us a
Yeah.
list of who the band members are
Yeah, let's start with the band members, but I think because
and what they do.
we've already covered कि हमारी introduction कहाँ से कौन से सुना वगैरह.
Uh huh.
But I mean, structurally, it's kind of like YouTube because of four piece, right? First of all.
I love four piece. I have something for the four piece, by the way. क्योंकि मुझे four piece ऐसा लगता है कि थोड़ा it's like nothing more and nothing less. I'm gonna
Yeah.
hear everything, right? वो
Yes.
पांचवा गिटार है जब आता है ना मेरी, फिर उससे
यार उसमें
I
फिर ना फिर उस अपेंडेज को आपको ना प्लीज करने के लिए you always have to over produce guitars and around you also have guitars when you don't
or
need it.
even if it's like a keyboard guy in the background. I feel still कि यार five piece bands are not my cup of tea.
Or just yeah, well, synth keyboard player like I mean, it just sticks out like a sore thumb because not every song has that, right? It reminds me of that guy in Fusion. Remember, like what was he
हाँ,
doing? How most of the time? I
yeah.
don't even know. Like, उसका कोई keyboard part भी होता था गाने में? I don't think so. But he was
I
always
don't remember.
there.
He was
But
there for
he,
something.
he was there for something. But I would never. I can't remember. Like I remember Shalom's music. Yes, I remember the
He
Safar
was a
Naman
good
Nabi.
music. He was a good writer. I've heard. What's his name?
Yeah,
Yes, नाम है भूल गया, but he was a good writer.
but I never
But like
heard
his
his like his synth piano keyboard thing all the
yeah,
time.
it was never like
So
I can never associate like I think of Fusion, I think of Shalom the guitarist. So it was a
yes,
very guitar dominated. Not like it was heavy, but it was still guitar dominated.
yeah, but in this band, I mean, I think it's a four piece, which is good. But the difference, since we're comparing with you two, is Elijah, who's the son of them.
Hmm.
He actually has more of an input from a guitar standpoint. He actually plays
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
lot
yeah.
compared
Right. So
to
there are two guitars being played,
yes,
but
yes,
and he has like a very heavy part as
yes.
well.
So from a member standpoint, he's the lead singer, rhythm guitar player Elijah Houston, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
or bass guitar player. The good thing is it's also still the original lineup, which is good.
Yeah, yeah.
Robert Keating is the
Yep.
bass guitar player, and my personal favorite musician in the band, Ryan McMahon, who's the drummer,
Uh-huh.
and then Josh
Yep.
Jenkinson is the lead guitar player, um, which is yeah, which completes the four piece. I think obviously we have additional musicians like supporting on tour and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the lineup.
That's the lineup, right? And yeah, I think you're right. Okay, it's a four-piece band, but they're kind of like making use of the four-piece to the maximum extent because everyone's doing.
No,
No one's sitting idle in a song. Even the lead singer, he's just
yes,
not standing there most of the time. He's also playing something,
yeah, and
which
I
is very
think as
important to
as
the
a
sound.
as a live act, they're actually very good. Manjana, I think they have,
Oh yeah, did you
and
see
it's
them at
seen.
Jimmy Kimmel?
Yes, I saw them on Jimmy Kimmel, and I think they also did like a sort of a virtual concert during COVID
हाँ,
from
COVID
from like
वगैरह.
from a manor in Ireland or room. I watched that performance too. So,
हाँ,
but
हाँ.
my point is they're very good live, and it shows me that they've been like touring and doing bar acts for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's almost like they're on Hamburg for when
Oh yeah. I
similar to
think
when the Beatles were
definitely.
doing it. Yeah. So
Exactly. I think live act having a live act which is which is like even at times better than the
yeah,
recorded version
yeah.
is definitely something that I appreciate.
Yeah, it's a hallmark of a really good like band, a rock band. But yeah, so that's the lineup. What what do you want to talk about from the album's perspective? Themes, songs, things that stick out. Because we're not trying to make it like a song by song comprehensive review. We're talking about like highlights and stuff.
We can do a song by song. I can play like a little bit of like each song, and we can just talk about what we felt about this particular song,
So I mean
and then
that's
we
fine
can go.
too. Yeah,
But
I've
do you want
listened
to
to this
start with?
album like a few times. Yes.
Yeah, me too. I've listened to
Yeah.
this. This has been on my playlist for a while. So,
Yeah.
um, but speaking of which, I think this will something we'll do in the down the line as well. Whenever Naved has time, or maybe we'll do it about
Hmm.
um, uh, you know uh, gateway drugs.
Right.
So
Right.
this kind of like this album kind of became my gateway drug towards
Mm.
inhaler music. क्योंकि
Yeah.
उनके जितने भी recent अब singles आ रहे हैं, I'm like up to date with them and I'm listening to
Hmm.
them and I'm enjoying that. तो वो music बड़ा इनका एक मुझे interesting लगा. But okay, so we can go one by one from the album. Uh, album is "It Won't Always Be Like This"
So let's
by
start with
Inhaler.
the eponymous like titular song. Um,
Yeah, इनके कोई और वो है चीज like who produced the album? Do you know who produced the album and
let's see. I don't know who the
like
producer was.
what record label they were on? It
The record label is
won.
this. They're Polydor. I have no idea who they are.
So, if I look at the album, it won't always be like this. Its studio is London, Narcissus Studio. Label is Polydor, and Anthony Glenn is the producer.
So
Anthony
on Poly,
Glenn. Anthony Glenn, आपको पता है कौन है?
gone.
Anthony Glenn. He was the original member of playing. Okay, he co-write records and number of songs with Robbie Williams,
Okay,
Uncle
that makes sense.
Josh Homme, Brian Eno, Ian Brown. Um, and in 2000, Glenn together Martin Slattery founded the Hours. We band at the Hours. The pair previously worked together as part of the Mesaleros. Okay. So they have a very experienced, like 1971 born British musician as their producer, which shows, and I'll get to that when we talk about the sound. It's very Manchester, you know, if you
Yeah,
know what that means. Um, what else do I have in terms of? Oh, as far as the charts are concerned, they did pretty well in
I think they
Irish,
did well in the
Irish.
UK charts. Yes.
Oh yeah, UK albums won. US Heatseeker albums were number 8 the Billboard पे. Um, they did pretty well across the board in the other countries as well. But okay, um, so let's start with uh, the first song, which is the first song that I heard. So I did you hear the album song like shuffled or तुमने उसको through वैसा
मैंने
सुना था
actually sequences सुना weirdly enough. I usually
sequence?
prefer it shuffle, but I listened to it in order, partly
हाँ.
because I guess I forgot to shuffle it. But then I realized midway कि I haven't shuffled it, and it was making sense. मतलब मुझे जो है इसमें थोड़ी सी logic and sense and then some order जो है इससे मुझे मजा आ रहा था, so I just kept going.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
क्योंकि I was listening to the album as a whole, तो मुझे था कि I have to listen it to it to. And honestly, like first time, my first listen to the album wasn't like कि मैं कोई वो headphones लगा के बैठा कमरे में and then I listened to it. It took a few, uh, you know, I wouldn't say tries, but it went through a few iterations because
Yes.
मैं उसको गाड़ी में सुन रहा था. तो मेरी
Mm-hmm.
गाड़ी में I think over a few trips I finished the album. So it wasn't like कि मैं घर पे बैठा and then and then after that because I've listened to the song so many times because they're part of my playlist, so I
Yep.
know exactly what the first time, but end to end जब album मैंने सुनी थी, I listened to it in the car over a few trips, so across a
Mm-hmm.
few maybe days or I don't know a week or so or something.
Yes.
Okay, so the first song is the title song, and
Yes.
it won't always be like this.
And
आवाज आ रही है तुम्हें?
huh.
Okay, so this was the first song that I listened, and I was already, as you can see, like kind of like hooked because इसमें वो synth, right on a synth, and it has that indie sound, very modern sound to it.
It's
So it
almost
kind of
like
like hooks you.
almost like Depeche Mode type synth intro, and then it gets like really indie, but
It does, yeah.
has a
Like
soaring sort of
Duran
chorus like
Duran,
U2. Yeah, so soaring
Duran
chorus like
Duran,
U2. As a whole, the sound is almost like
हाँ,
Depeche Mode meets the Killers versus meet Foster the People almost. If you like put them together, combine them,
right.
and then sprinkle some U2 on top, that's their sound, in my opinion.
Like इनका जो
Which is a nice mixture.
chorus है,
Actually. Hmm.
chorus is something that I enjoyed. I thought this was. Let me get to the chorus part.
और फिर कोरस की जो
हाँ,
मेलोडी है वो दोबारा से
ये,
सिंथ में प्ले हो रही होती है.
हाँ, इसका pre-chorus है ये. This one. So it's kind of like booms from here. I really
Hmm.
enjoy this. And वो जो उसमें जो तुम्हें आवाज में भी थोड़ा सा मुझे I could hear like war Bono,
Hmm.
a boy Bono, right?
Yes. Yeah, like War
So
and Boy and October kind of.
so it has a lot of like passion in how the lyrics are being delivered. Any word on the lyrics, by the way, of the first song?
Well, I think overall he's a very strong and introspective sort of songwriter,
Yeah, yeah.
and
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 do we
I
know
think
he's writing the songs or is it like a group effort?
I think it's him. I think he's the primary songwriter.
I wonder how many
Uh,
times he went to Bono to kind of like correct the lyrics or
to
something.
like sort of bounce off the ideas because he does have a very Bono way of expressing himself
Yeah,
on song.
like Bonoisms मुझे उसमें बहुत मिले like she
Bonoisms
does
that
that or
go to sometimes become
like
yeah
she does this or like वो जो वो होता है ना कि एक बड़ा एक abstract way to describe a situation. You kind of like always saying she does that and she does go the like it's not like you're talking about a person. It's almost like it's very
like
Bonoisms. उसमें.
yeah even like even if they're abstract ideas they're represented with like a he or she. There's sort of almost a humanizing aspect of
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For
even
example,
when you're not talking about a person, right?
yeah. For example, when Bono says she's most of the time he's referring to God.
Exactly. So
Uh,
that's so
in
there. It's
in
a way of
in in yeah, it's kind of like
yeah.
humanizing what he's trying to say. Um, yeah, and so. So I'm just looking at the lyrics. And one of the best what I do. What about you?
I mean,
Play me the record, baby.
the
Spin me
lyrics
around, turn me
itself,
upside down.
the lyrics itself आप
Oh, I mean,
interpret
I'll
कर
pull the
सकते हैं
covers
कि,
right up over here in my head. It won't always be like this.
but if you just
In
listen to
I'm
the
dead,
chorus
honey.
itself, right?
Yeah,
It's almost like things won't be as bad always. Or if
yeah.
you're, it almost actually weirdly enough, uh, have you heard that? Well, you've heard that song. क्या कहते हैं? अब मेरे दिमाग से इसका टाइटल निकल रहा है. क्या कहते हैं? Sergeant Pepper में से
हाँ
क्या
हाँ
कहते हैं?
हाँ
Getting better, right?
हाँ.
I was the chorus, yeah, I have to admit it's getting better all the time, which is the optimistic part. And then
Right.
John Lennon says it can't get no worse, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah, yeah.
almost like the duality in this chorus is almost reminding me of that. It won't always be like this, and then you'll be dead or something like that. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
kind
very
of like
clever. Yeah, it reminds
क्या
सुनो
कहते
ना
हैं
पहली
उसे
दफा, it
कि
remind me of Getting Better on Sergeant Pepper because the chorus में भी एक
yeah.
duality है. Like
No,
one
that's an
person's being
interesting one.
positive,
Yeah.
and then the other person, John Lennon, which is totally
I
on.
think that's the theme you would hear from a lot of this. For example,
Yeah,
एक song is one of my favorites, "Cheer Up Baby," जिसके बारे में तुम बताया. That's like one of
yeah,
my favorite songs in the album.
yes.
That is also similar in that regards, where it's
The
like,
theme,
oh, when
yes.
you
So
look at
there's,
the song title, "Cheer Up Baby," it's gonna be like, "Cheer up, baby, be happy,"
yes,
and but it's not. It's actually like a heartbreak song,
yes.
almost. Khair, anyway, so I thought like it was a good, very strong start to the album, and I was like, okay. And for me personally, it's not just like any band. I mean,
Hmm.
for any new music, I'm very slow to latch on to new music because it has to catch on because मेरी क्या कहते हैं उसे attention span बहुत short हो चुका है.
Yes, I
As it
think
is the case.
it's a common thing across the board.
It's a very तो मुझे ना I really if I'm hearing something new, एक तो मुझे पेशेंस नहीं है नई चीज सुनने का, लाइक ट्राई करने का.
और उसको फिर ना जो भी slow burner होती है ना, that's why you lose out on those because
If
पेशेंस
right,
नहीं.
right. Like
If it
I have to
doesn't hit
really push
immediately,
myself. Exactly. I
yes.
really have to push. I remember, Junubi Khargosh का नाम सुना तुमने? Junubi Khargosh is one of those indie electronic bands in Pakistan. They were all
जुनूबी
the rave.
खरगोश. अच्छा, मैंने नहीं सुना.
Actually, हाँ तो they were all the rave and like उनके बारे में तुम सुनो ना underground में everyone talks about them. They're amazing, they're amazing and amazing, and they have this like abstract themes about their songs and they're electronic जबरदस्त. So when I started listening to it, I honestly just struggled to groove on me. So
Hmm.
I had to push myself to listen to it a few times before I was like, okay, you know what? I think this is nice. I can listen to this. But still to this day, I haven't like really like I haven't. I would still skip a few songs here and there
You don't
from
get
them.
it that much yet because
Yeah, yeah. But I
yeah,
understand the hype. I understand their hype, but I don't get it. But with this one, for example, when I listened to this first song, I was like, okay, I'm interested already in the next song, which
yeah.
is
Minus
My
face.
Honest Face. Yes.
This could be like a killer song, honestly.
Again, those, drums.
It's
Exactly.
a very killer's feel.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
And then उसमें वो जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक तुम्हें आवाज आ रही सिंथ्स की और तुम्हें जो गिटार प्लेइंग है, it's very like
It reminds me
melodious
of
as
वो
opposed
सुना है
to.
हमने का Killers का Spaceman नहीं what is it? Spaceman मुझे इस वजह से दिमाग में आ रहा है because of David Brent.
यह पता नहीं कि
But
मुझे ये सुन के ऐसा लगता है कि it could have been easily on a like a FIFA
yes, it
OSTs
is.
है ना.
Yes, it is. क्या नाम था उसका? Spaceman ही. Yeah, it is a space. It is called
हाँ
Spaceman.
स्पेसमैन हाँ
From the Killer. अब वो गाना से taint हो गया because of The Office.
हाँ.
Like,
टेंट क्या हो गया, अच्छा गाना है यार वो.
like in the
स्पेसमैन
sense कि अब मैं
स्पेसमैन के
I have to
ना ये उसका भी रिव्यू करना चाहिए हमें वैसे. इट्स अ वेरी डिसेंट
हजरत
एल्बम.
हजरत हजरत स्पेसमैन बनाया है ना.
हाँ हाँ
Anyways,
कसम से.
uh,
रजी अल्लाह.
but yeah, it's very killer song, and I mean, मैंने इसके बारे में पढ़ा भी. I remember when I read about it. क्योंकि इसमें he mentioned Joker and then stuff like that.
हाँ
And my honest face, it's almost like he has all these, or the person has all these characters that he plays, but he's still trying to figure out who he is, right? In terms of his
and this is
personality.
it's a very different chorus as well from the last song, right?
Yeah.
It's a very like ऐसा लग रहा है कि गाना चल रहा है, like it's a very
हाँ, कोई ऐसा
अभी
anthemic crescendo
हाँ.
नहीं है इसमें.
Exactly, this is the honest face. By the way, YouTube's gonna whoop my ass with the um,
With copyright strikes.
copyright and at least whoever's listening to this, they might enjoy it better, and if they're listening to an audio, because Spotify doesn't do that, thankfully, because we're talking over it.
Mhm.
And then YouTube mein pata nahi kya scene. I don't know how these people do like reviews of music without getting copyright strikes,
I
and
don't
maybe
know.
they do. I don't know. Like kya scene hota hai. But yeah, YouTube's probably gonna play like whoever's watching us right now on YouTube. You're probably gonna hear like a very like this sound's gonna be removed essentially. So it's not going to be
Yep.
enjoyable on YouTube, unfortunately. Okay. Honest Faced के बाद है Slide Out of the Window. Again, one of my favorites from the album.
It's probably the song I've heard, I think, the most, if ever.
Oh, and just to start है, this is the song that I would love to play. It's so
उसकी जो
catchy.
it's a 2 to 3 note intro, but it's
Oh, it's
such a
beautiful.
nice atmospheric. इसमें मुझे लग
I
रहा था it's
know.
almost like a unforgettable fire का start out,
Oh yes, yes,
right?
unforgettable.
तो मुझे
This one.
ये सुन के मुझे वो याद आया। इसकी लाइव
और
परफॉर्मेंस भी
बीच
बहुत
में
बेहतरीन है एक्चुअली।
अच्छा मैंने इसकी लाइव देखी। इसके पीछे ड्रम का पोर्शन ये वाला पोर्शन ये आता है ना ये वाला। It's kind of like stops and then starts again.
या
I love that
कुछ
part. I love that.
बहुत मेरे पसंदीदा गानों में से होगा ये। I really love that song, and again इसका again it's not just the chorus itself, but
Hmm.
the filler pieces, like even towards the end, post the bridge,
Right.
very nice sort of calming down or cool down portion of the song.
Yeah,
So
again, like where you references, she makes moves deep in my head, burning a hole right down in my chest,
yeah,
like the morning. Um, just slide out of the window till the dawning. इसका chorus बहुत अच्छा actually, very 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 repeatable. Like you would want to sing with it. It's very good.
hmm. मगर इस गाने का मेरा favorite part वो है the cool down parts towards the end जब खत्म होता है
Ah,
we got to slide right. तो इसमें I mean there's a lot of musical maturity in this song. That's the chorus.
yeah. Yeah, this is one of my favorite songs. Slide out the window. It's probably been in my playlist for a while, and always enjoy listening to it. Uh, the next couple of songs are actually very very strong. Like this album, I think generally is a very
मतलब
strong album, but
इसमें इसमें
you would feel like the
ऐसा कोई
middle portion of the album is like very very strong. They usually you'll have these songs like probably starting out the album or finishing it up, but the
मतलब ऐसा
middle
कोई
portion is always
strong filler element नहीं है इस album में हो रहा है ऐसा
ah
you're right.
exactly. Okay, so this is the one that I was referring to earlier. Cheer up, baby.
Yes.
Again, one of those very good guitar riffs, or you want to call it arpeggios, what you want to call it. But I really enjoy this one. I don't know. I also get sometimes I get like Arctic Monkey vibes as well. And
Like
and
फिर
as I
उसमें
was
आपका
mentioning
जब
earlier,
आपका that
uh,
Manchester feel भी आ जाता है you're right.
I think a
But
lot of Manchester bands influence इसमें आपको सुनने को मिलता है. If you what I was referring to earlier, like Oasis for example. Oasis का भी एक थोड़ा सा element आता है इसमें.
yeah, I mean there's a so that I think all of this is captured under like the umbrella of Britpop, for example, right?
Britpop, yeah,
It was when a काफी strong Britpop element है, and
yeah.
Paul Weller. I mean, I think the producer actually worked with Paul Weller, so that's a very
Mm,
influential piece because I think Paul Weller influenced you too a lot as well.
yeah,
So yes, I think I see it too, but I think the approach or philosophy towards chorus is very utilitarian, but everything else isn't. It's very different, which is
yeah, yeah,
quite interesting. Um, and
yeah. The
इनके गानों में
pre-chorus
like
and the chorus, huh?
there's no post punk vibe in their song like
There
in
isn't it? There
Ukulele,
isn't anything.
which is completely which brings me to the production piece actually of the album, and I think it's important to discuss it because it's almost overproduced the album if you listen to it in
True.
some aspects. Like sometimes, like for
I
example,
think for a first
slide up,
album, yeah, for a first album, it's kind of like overproduced. It's kind of like
yeah,
agar this was their like fourth, fifth album,
yeah.
then
Then
it
you
makes
know
sense
what
because
their
then you can,
sound is, and then skip up the
uh,
production values or डालेंगे. मगर like for example, कुछ गानों में like slide out the window, for example.
huh,
Like sometimes a guitar actually doesn't feel like a guitar. It's not doesn't sound like a real instrument almost,
exactly, huh.
which is like completely the
I wonder
opposite
how they
of
played live. Are they playing everything live, or do they have the
I
filler
think
sounds
there
in the
is
background,
I think there is some sound sort of backing up
like
the
backing up,
backs,
right?
like some synth sound or maybe some keyboards. I'm pretty sure. वो
I'm
देखना
pretty
पड़ेगा.
sure as well. Yeah.
मगर that's my main gripe almost with the album. That it's almost a little overproduced. But overall, it's not a bad thing. कुछ गानों में मुझे लगा कि maybe I want that organic sound, like that boy or war sound the most, or more.
Yeah.
Which is why In My Sleep मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद है because it's such a raw song. I think towards
I'm
the
gonna
end,
get to that.
we're
Yeah,
getting out of
I think that's the
the
last song.
order.
Yeah, that's the last
Yeah,
song of the album,
yeah.
of an 11 song album, which is again a very good number of
उसमें
songs
से
they've
एक
done.
गाना तो एक sort of like a bridge है, right? Like a 1 minute bridge. What was it called?
Um,
Now I have to look at it.
I think "Strange Time to Be Alive."
Yes, well, trying to be like just before In My
Yeah,
Sleep. Yes, correct.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is the one that I was referring to when I said they are kind of speaking of things beyond just like normal teenager stuff, or like early
Mm.
20s. They're not teenagers, but early teens, early
Like sort of
20s.
still I kind of adolescent almost, right? Yeah.
Yeah, listen, but this is again a very good song, and a night on the floor.
Yes. इस गाने से तुम्हें कौन सा गाना याद आता है? I almost feel like a descendant from a song that his dad wrote actually.
uh I think किससे आता मुझे.
Pop.
Oh, Wake Up Red Man.
No. If you wear that velvet dress से बहुत मिलता
Oh
जुलता एक गाने का
हाँ, लेकिन Wake Up Red
thematically
Man की थोड़ी सी इसमें वो है,
like that riff.
गिटार पार्ट. हाँ,
But
जो एंड नहीं
it's
होता होता Wake Up Red Man.
yes, yes. But it's बहुत chill vibes in गाने की. I like it.
I think it's
And
also
he's
इसका वो बहुत अच्छा. Uh, इसका वो chorus again, one of my favorite. Yeah. Spend the night on the floor or the other side. पता है किसके बारे में गाना?
इसकी मुझे lyrics के बारे में
So
कुछ
okay,
पता
मैं
नहीं.
lyrics पढ़ता हूँ and you'll guess it. 100% you'll guess it. Okay. Oh, this is for you all. This is for you all lovers and your kids. You might not like it. Might call me a bitch.
Hmm.
This for all you sinners saved by saints. God bless the madness of the 50 states. This all you dreamers who dream in bed. Where are you going when you lay your head? All you mothers can't believe your eyes. Pull up the covers and make it a night on the floor.
So it's basically about like shooting in America in the 50
Yeah,
states.
school shooting. School
Yeah,
shootings. Yeah, basically,
basic.
spend the night on the floor. Basically, when they say na कि जो shooting शुरू रहती है, you go down.
Yeah.
Um, and
हाँ
all
hit the
your
ground on
teachers
the floor.
under your desk. So again, what gives it away in the next portion के अंदर, lyrics के अंदर, when he says, "I'm on my knees, just tell me where I sign, and all you teachers under your desk, I can't believe you haven't cleaned up that mess."
Yeah, this is very on brand as Mono's son, I think, because this is only one overdue.
Like an
But
Irish band would probably do, addressing
yes,
these
it's
the madness of the 50 states, that they say. But again, a
yeah,
very very strong song. Like, has that, it's almost
yes,
like very crisp. It's like they've gone through 1,000 songs before they came to this, right?
yeah.
It
मतलब
doesn't sound like
काफी
this is a
it doesn't
it's
sound
like
raw. It sounds
uh,
polished. It sounds very polished.
very polished, very
Yeah,
polished, very polished. So I'm very surprised at how polished they are and how much influence their producer had on this.
the producer
Okay,
was, I think, very influential in this for
very
sure.
influential. I'm pretty sure, because क्योंकि ये it's a very mature sound, and the
Yes.
lyrics are also very mature. Um, but yeah, that was a night on the floor.
Speaking of like
Um,
sort of edgy songs, the next one is I think probably the edgiest in terms of
My King Will Be Kind.
yes. Actually, it's the only one that's slapped with the expletive tag, right?
What's that?
It's the only one that's slapped with the expletive tag because it's Meghallian.
Uh, I think इसमें भी था इस I fucking hate that bitch. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
think that's
इसमें भी
the
bitch
only.
था लेकिन उसमें I fucking hate नहीं था.
No,
Right.
no, which I think is funny. It's fine.
हाँ.
Is that the song about incels? I think so.
About what?
Incels, like people who like hate
हाँ, I
women.
think.
It's almost like a
पता नहीं क्या है ये My King Will Be Kind. हाँ, it's about I think domestic abuse or something.
yeah. Again, I think it's a strong song, and that switch sort of relief into
Right.
the chorus, I think is a nice switch over. Musically, I enjoyed it a lot.
But I don't fit in. I've lost my mind. But my king will be kind. Khair, that was my king will be kind. Wesley, what are your thoughts on like these musicians sometimes kind of like who are almost like it feels like they're forcing themselves to write on like serious issues, like
Like social
class
issues,
shootings, social issues, or class mass shootings, or domestic abuse, or depression.
like for example, Sunday Bloody Sunday. For example, let's take that. It feels
Mm,
like it's not forced because the writer actually lived through the experience, and most people, his like
right.
his family, who lived through that experience, IRA and then
Yeah.
civil war in Ireland. But then there's this new generation today, जो बड़े blanketed and बड़े like cushioned है. They haven't really been exposed to that. And if they write about it, you don't feel that same level of connectedness to the issue, which is
Or
almost
like it doesn't feel
immediately
genuine.
detect. It's immediately detectable. You're just sort of writing it to, mark something off the checklist, or almost like a sort of a rite to
Yeah,
passage
that's my
towards
and
wokeness.
this is a
And
very uh, this is a very, I would say, harsh thing to say, but that's my kind of take on Kashmir the band at times.
hmm,
They are a very good band, and I just I just don't get them sometimes. I feel like कि मुझे लगता है कि I don't know, there's something off. It's not like I hate them, but I just can't take
I
them
know what you're
seriously.
saying. जो उनका main जो first single that was basically on that too, right?
Yeah, वो भागो भागो.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, वो थोड़ा सा ना ऐसा लगता है कि I don't know, it doesn't feel genuine. For example, when I hear Bayan, for example, right? There's that I feel like they, or at least Asfar, is
Hmm.
kind of speaking from a genuine place of like
Like it's a personal
experience.
experience, yes.
Right, right.
It's
तो
almost
मुझे वो
like कि
फिर
अगर कोई like Pakistan से भी band आ रहा है, they're expected to think about sing about like terrorism, stuff like that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's almost like but it's not a lived experience for like 99% of people. So
It's not. So मुझे even if it's not lived experience, but you
or
have to
if
feel
you've been
strong. Like
close
for
to it,
example, right, for Sunday Bloody Sunday, they 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 felt really strongly about like the IRA and the Irish, and they were like very
Irish, yeah.
like unapologetically Irish, uh, the band,
And
right?
that comes through in the song because the rage is there. You feel it.
The rage is
Uh,
there. You feel it. You feel ke, हाँ यार, this is something that this means something to them.
yeah.
And that goes to show in a lot of these songs, a lot of other songs with which you two has wrote. And what, for example, अभी जो हम जो बात कर रहे थे, A Night on the Floor, they didn't experience anything like that. But again, the way they approached it, the way that's written, it's not from like it's nothing that I can't relate to either, because like I can't not relate to either, because a lot of those references that are made are not very difficult references
Yeah. And
to
he's not
relate
like
to, like Night on the
feigning like
Floor.
he's not
हाँ
feigning outrage either. Okay, यार मेरे बहुत गुस्सा आ रहा है and stuff like that. Because
हाँ
if
मेरी
there was
हट रही है यार इसी
some
से
like
क्यों कर रहे हो तुम.
righteous outrage अगर वो होता ना, तो that would have been
हाँ,
थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होता उसको digest करना क्योंकि like dude you weren't there,
exactly. It
you
felt
haven't lived
like
through
it
it.
just the right amount of like genuineness attached to it versus outright कि बस अब मुझे ये गाना करना है क्योंकि
Like
ताकि
you
मैं.
touch it, say your piece on it, and then you're like, okay, that's it from
Okay,
my
yeah,
end.
I've said, yeah,
What
it
do I
doesn't
know?
really
That's what
हाँ,
I
what
think,
do
but
I
what do
know.
I know,
हाँ,
basically. And that
exactly.
attitude, I think, with the musician is good. But if you're
It's
like
good.
self-righteous, saying कि भाई ऐसे होना चाहिए, तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो, मैं बताता हूँ क्या करना है. When
एक तो
that
हमें इस पे भी
happens,
हाँ, एक तो
उस
हमें
पे फिर मुझे
पॉडकास्ट पे
थोड़ा
भी
सा I have an issue.
एक तो हमें पॉडकास्ट पे भी करनी चाहिए कि जो पाकिस्तानी एक इट्स अ फनी ऑब्जर्वेशन आई मेड पाकिस्तानी जो हैवी म्यूजिक है ना हैवी हैवी लाइक डेथ ग्रंज और मेटल
Hmm.
वो निकालो और पाकिस्तानी रैप म्यूजिक निकालो उसमें अम, चलो रैप को तो छोड़ दो इतना बट पाकिस्तानी जो जो हैवी म्यूजिक है ना उसका तुम अगर थीम्स देखो तो बड़े अजीब से थीम्स हैं उसके क्योंकि उसमें अ, बात यानी कि वो बंदा यानी कि पूरा जो है ना वो ग्राउलिंग कर रहा है लेकिन उसके लिरिक्स सुनो ना तो बताऊँ क्या होता है इंसान ने कुछ ने साथ नहीं दिया इंसान ने अपने आप को मार डाला एक दूसरे का खून बहाया अपने भाइयों को मार अबे ये अगर आप सुने लाइक मेटल यहाँ पर जो मेटल बन रहा होता है ना इट्स लेजिटमेट लाइक सैटेनिक तो और इतना इसका एक रिवर्स एक समझ लो कि एक इसका पैरेलल एग्जिस्ट करता है पाकिस्तान में कि इट्स एक्चुअली वेरी यू नो वोक लाइक वोक मेटल कि हमें जो है
Yeah.
ना गवर्नमेंट ने मार डाला हमें और ये
हमें ये
लाइक
कह
दैट्स नॉट
दिया
द सॉन्ग
या
हाँ
मुल्ला ने ये कह दिया and stuff like that, which is like a
अगेन
actually
अगेन वो
Mulla is a very
रन
low
ऑफ द मिल
hanging fruit too, a
हाँ
very low hanging fruit
एग्जैक्टली
in
रन
Pakistan.
ऑफ द
Like
मिल
some
टाइप का
anyone can dunk on it actually. It doesn't really make you very insightful. या यार ये बंदे ने बात करी है, मैंने सोचा
यार
नहीं
क्या यार
था
जबरदस्त
बात
बात
करी.
कर दी उसने यार ये नेक्स्ट लेवल कुछ उसने वो बात
तभी
करी है
मुझे ना इंट्रोस्पेक्टिव म्यूजिक ज्यादा पसंद है, जो अपने बारे में बात कर रहा होता है, या जो मैं
हाँ
सोच रहा हूँ या मेरे
सेम
एक्सपीरियंस में मैंने ये देखा है, जिस वजह विच इज वाई उस वजह से मुझे असर की जो सॉन्ग राइटिंग है बहुत पसंद है, बिकॉज ही इज
एग्जैक्टली
टॉकिंग अबाउट समथिंग जो उसने शायद या तो एक्सपीरियंस करी है
ही इज
या
थिंकिंग अबाउट इट
उसने
राइट ही इज
ऑब्जर्व
थिंकिंग
करी
या
है. हाँ, तो मतलब
राइट
इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक
एंड
sort of thinking
एंड
out loud.
ही इज नॉट सेइंग कि ऐसा होना ही इज बेसिकली सेइंग यार मेरे दिमाग में ऐसा चल रहा है तो दिस इज हाउ आई परसीव दिस इशू सो यू कैन
Almost
डिसएग्री
like
विद इट
asking questions कि यार ये क्यों है,
हाँ
stuff like that. It's which is
एग्जैक्टली
fine.
जैसे वो जो सॉन्ग था आई थिंक रेफरिंग टू सुनो राइट सुनो
Yes, Sono. Yes, Sono
ब्यूटीफुल
is
सॉन्ग
almost like
ब्यूटीफुल
him sort of talking to himself. कि यार मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ, but I don't know who's hearing. But this is what I would say.
almost to a
Oh,
weirdly an antithesis to Imagine.
yes, yes. He's saying कि listen to this,
Im-
and this is what I feel like. This is what I want, but whatever. It's
Imagine
almost
is
like
also a
that.
very Pakistani song, by the way. Imagine is also like one of those
Imagine
कि
is
सारी सरहदें मिट जाएं दुनिया से
हाँ
इश्क
सारा
प्यार
मिल
ही
जाए
प्यार हो एक दूसरे से प्यार ही प्यार करें सब कम ऑन
हाँ,
यार
सब
कम ऑन
सब प्यार कह रहे हैं, हर मतलब हर शॉट होम रन हो, like it's almost it's like a utopian जो है
हाँ थोड़ा
paradise
पाकिस्तानी
की.
थोड़ा वाइब्स है उसके अंदर टू मच थोड़ा सा उसमें रियलिज्म नहीं है which was something that
Which is
defined you
strange, which is strange coming from John Lennon, because he was the master
वो
of writing here sort
वर्किंग
of
क्लास हीरो
caustic songs. Yeah, working class hero name
या
another example जो बिल्कुल इसके antithesis है, उसी गाने की similar
उसी
period of
गाने
time.
के है वो
It's not
oh
like
yeah
he's a changed man in that song,
oh no no no
around
no
the
it's
same
I
time.
think that's the same album or same like back
Yeah,
like कुछ
yeah.
same period of time है ये but anyway let's move on to the next one we have a few songs to cover
Hmm.
and this is also a very good one it's called When It Breaks again one of those songs जिसना वो जो पहला था It Won't Always Be Like This
Yes,
थोड़ा
like
सा
an
like उस टाइप की
indie pop song.
indie hooks you in right
Yeah.
for the storm to break uh let's get to the chorus real fast
I think it's a song about being stuck in sort of
yeah
in one place and you can't break out of it, because I think उसने ये pandemic लिखा था, तो maybe that's what they were feeling.
yeah
And they're almost
um
imagining कि जब ये खत्म होगा तो हम क्या करेंगे, that sort of
I think a
build
lot
up
of
of
their
hope
songs I
होता है.
think if you read it they rewrote a lot of those songs because they were kind of releasing this album which was supposed which intersected or क्या कहेंगे उसे
Yeah.
coincided with the start of the pandemic लेकिन when the pandemic started they were like these songs are like completely irrelevant now So they kind of went back, and during the pandemic, they rewrote the
So
album again.
re-engineered parts of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
basically
I
rewrote
agree.
most of the album, came up with new songs. That's how you feel like they were kind of relatable when it just because it came out last year in the middle of the pandemic. So that was when it breaks. Um, Again, hooks you in. The next one, who's your money on? I like this one too, by the way.
ये मैंने गाना
This
इतना
is where
सारा
the
नहीं सुना. Like, I haven't heard it many times, but it has
this
again
has a
nine.
bassy sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get to the
Drum in
chorus
the
real quick.
beginning too.
And then it kind of like mellows down, and and then I'll put myself on the line. Has a very like crunchy chords and riffs to it. So it's a Plastic House version. So I don't know if they have like an original version of the
I
song.
think Plastic House is the album. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next one is Totally.
Yeah. Totally. I think I did I touch on this earlier? Because it's my favorite drumming song on the album,
Oh yeah, I like the drumming.
and a very U2 anthemic chorus beat.
But it's also very 90s pop.
Yes, it is. It is. मुझे इस गाने की drumming बहुत पसंद है. That really keeps like marches the song forward. तभी मुझे
Uh,
उसको सुनने में बहुत मजा आता है.
oh, I love the guitar in this one. I remember this
Watch,
one, yeah.
watch it out of it. Yeah.
It's a very U2. Yeah, you're right. It's a very U2 anthemic song.
Like great musicianship, I think. Like band musicianship in this song.
Yep. Totally Blind, Totally Daft. Um, but yeah, a very good song. Very good song. Um, so far, no skippers, right?
Yeah, no, like there's no, yeah, there's no filler. To be
Yeah,
honest,
no,
like,
nothing I would skip knowing I don't enjoy it. I might
yeah,
be looking for another song at the moment of time. That's
and
why I
then
might
more
skip
time
it.
depending on mood. But
Mood, right?
there's always some time and place for every song. I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's the
Overall.
true. Yeah, that's absolutely right. क्योंकि पूरी album में it kind of like covers the basis for most of the moods you're in. Like if you're feeling
Yeah,
rage or feeling happy,
yeah,
feeling
I
upbeat,
think so.
you're feeling mellow. So it kind of covers all bases there. That's true. Strange Time to Be Alive is what's what you're referring to earlier, which is kind of like a filler. It's like a
Yeah,
almost
it's like a bridge to the last song, essentially,
yeah.
in my sleep.
It's always it's. I wonder if it's like a nod to um कौन सा गाना था यार वो YouTube का Songs of Experience start हुआ था.
Oh, I know what
Love
you're
is all
talking
we
about.
have left.
Well, yeah, yeah.
तो
Yeah,
उसमें
that
भी है
was
ना
a
कि what
minute long.
it's not a उसमें भी lyrics एक portion आता है ना उसमें it's not a time not to be alive. There's not a time not to be alive.
It
So
could be
this is
an homage to or shout out to that. Sure, yeah, I
yeah
think so.
strange time because it also kind of like goes in the background. You're hearing a strange time to be alive, and that kind of like leads into the last song which you were referring to earlier. In my sleep.
Yes. So start ऐसा लग रहा होता है कि बर्थडे का स्टार्ट हो
हाँ tick tick tick.
रहा है. This is a song that I think could be on wall. Like it's almost like that. Man. अगर तुम इसकी
Oh yeah, on wall. Yeah, you're right.
production और इसकी theme, I think, and just the sound of it is very war-like. More like war than any other song on this album. I think,
It's
especially
also
the
kind of like
pre-chorus part.
thematically sound. I know, but thematically, doesn't it sound like Out of Control?
It does.
Like
Yes,
Out of Control की
it
भी same
does.
themes हैं. Kind of like out introspectives के बाद अब now you're looking outside saying यार कितने चूतिया लोग हैं दुनिया में मेरे around. Like I'm surrounded by चूतिया. Basically, that's what the song is. I don't care in my sleep. Oh, in my sleep, I want you. You're tender. When you're off, when you turn off, it feels much better. Okay, so that was in my sleep.
That
Um, that rounds off 45 minutes of a solid album. Actually, it
I
won't
think
always be like this.
it's a very strong introduction, like a very strong freshman album. Let's say.
Would you
Uh,
change anything about the album? Maybe like the song listing or anything,
Not the song listing itself.
or like sorry,
मैंने
arranging the song arrangements.
um, I think I like their sound, but like I said, maybe just strip back some of the production and listen to the band more. Maybe scale back on the synth, but that's maybe part of their DNA. So it's hard to really compare that to what they really are because that's what they are because that's what we know. अब दूसरी album आने वाली है शायद इनकी and उसके बाद तुम्हें पता चलेगा कि what their evolution has been.
Yeah,
But maybe cut back on some of the production. I would
have they
say.
toured in Toronto yet?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. As far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I don't think they've
Okay.
come to the Bay Area as well. They've mostly
But
been like LA, New
what
York
about you?
type.
What would you choose?
Yeah, honestly, I think you were bang on about the production portion of it. I think I would have reduced a little bit of that, like reduced a little bit of production. Also, generally, if I were to change like the track listing,
Hmm.
I would I would start with something like "In My Sleep,"
Okay.
um, um, or I think "Strange Time to Be Alive" would have been a good way to like intro and get a sense of like, okay, these guys are serious. These guys, because it's a very
Hmm.
ballsy move, similar to what Bayan did as well, right? When they started with Azik,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
you know, you kind of like very ballsy, like very assured, like self assured. I feel like कि जब music ऐसे start होता है ना कि unconventional songs that you would never hear live because they're not gonna play this. Probably gonna hear it in the background somewhere before like an encore or
Yeah.
middle of the show when they're taking a break, you know. But they're not gonna play it. It's not gonna be like that. So it feels like so आपको लगता है कि they were prepared to let this sound stay in this album
Yeah.
regardless of the fact that this is going to probably take away some time away from a different track. So it feels like very assured and very ballsy. तो मुझे वो थोड़ा सा like it makes me hooked, you know, rather than
I
like a
get that.
catchy
Yeah, I
number.
get that. Yeah, I get that. But this is a very polished and self-assured band. After all, they're not
Oh yeah,
unsure about
100%.
what their sound is, what their strengths are. Which is why I'm interested to see कि उनका अगला कदम क्या होगा, कि किस direction में जाएंगे.
Did
Maybe
you listen to their like latest singles?
नहीं मैंने अभी नहीं सुना because that's something on my list I want to listen to.
You
And I
should
wanted to
listen
listen
to
to
These Are
it
the Days.
after this podcast because then I'll actually just switch over to the next step essentially. तो
हाँ, तो
फिर
उनका एक
देखते हैं
है
कि किस
दीज आर द डेज सुनना तुम लव विल गेट यू देयर ये दो सिंगल्स आए हैं अभी दिस साल इनके लव विल गेट यू देयर एंड दीज आर द डेज which is again I think in the same realm. It's almost like you know post
hmm,
Zuropa, which whatever YouTube produced was kind of like in the same realm of that
hmm,
period. So you wouldn't find too much difference in this and then the album itself, but there's still enough difference for you to feel like, okay, this is nice. Um, but yeah, that was Inhaler. एक चीज one thing I wanted to point out, इनका एक गाना है, it's called Ice Cream Sunday. Have you listened to that one?
no, this is like
So
just a standalone.
it's a standalone 2019 में एक गाना आया था इनका एक सिंगल था. So the thing about interesting about this song is I was listening to you know
Hmm,
you know one of Bono's interviews for the book, right? तो उसमें किसी इंटरव्यू ने उससे पूछा कि what song what like three books and three whatever instruments or whatever and then three songs you would take to a deserted island that you will always have to listen to forever.
hmm,
Like उसको आप change नहीं कर सकते. So one of the songs that he selected was Ice Cream Sunday by Inhaler. I was like, wow,
wow.
okay, that's kind of like now you're kind of like blatantly pushing your son's career.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's a weird song to pick. So I went back and I listened to Ice Cream Sunday. It's a good song. It's a very good song. Let me just play a little bit of it. Actually, you'll enjoy it.
sort of a dreamy kind of feel.
हाँ इसका इसका कोरस मुझे बहुत पसंद है अब सुनना
Okay, I see what he's coming,
yeah
where he's coming.
but it's a very good song और उसमें बोनो ने कहा था कि it's very
Obviously.
rare that you start both of your um, verses with the same word. So the song starts with "I'm in the pursuit of happiness," and then he starts the next verse after the chorus with the same like "in the pursuit of happiness." So उसने कहा था कि that's one of those like as a songwriter, I felt like that was very interesting. कि it would start two two verses with the same kind of the same way.
Interesting.
But
Okay, maybe look at that
but yeah,
as like a
that was
sample.
Ice Cream Sunday 2019 में Queen का single था. But generally, what are the top three songs from the album, and then we'll finish it up.
Um, hmm. I think for
It's
me,
difficult, isn't it? Like picking
yeah,
three.
because there are a lot of songs at par with or on par with each other. Slide out of the window in no order. I'll just do it. Slide out the window, slide out the window.
Uh,
Totally. Um, and whew, really depends on what I'm feeling like. Maybe in my sleep, maybe. Uh, or
hmm.
I'm not sure actually. या फिर आपका everyone all the time. I have to. I'll have a different list 5 days from now. So it's a
Yeah, yeah,
tough
same
one.
here. I think just listening to the album again, like very, like during the course of this episode. Um, what I would do is I would definitely have a night on the floor because I enjoy that song because मुझे उसकी जो ना एक feel बहुत अच्छी लगती है.
Okay.
Um, I will have um totally.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's so depending on the mood. But then I would have cheer up, baby.
Okay. Okay. I see. Yeah, I see why.
But I can go
All
like
good songs. All great songs. Yeah.
I can easily go with what's it called? Slide out the window. I can easily go with that any other day, and replace any of these songs with that. But
Mm.
generally, I think that those will be my top three for the album. But yeah, it's very difficult. I think it's again a very strong album, strong record, and no song that I would skip per se. Covers all the bases in terms of like music and themes is concerned, and really a very decent account of themselves as a band they've read. So I'm actually really excited with where they like head from here because second albums are always the curse. Going by YouTube's
Yes.
experience,
Yeah. Yeah.
you kind of like you've said everything now, and then you feel like okay, what else is out there? You feel like you've poured your heart out in the first album, and then it's very difficult to then redo that again for a second album because then you
Yeah.
feel like a
So,
belly album you feel like you've said it all right.
yeah. But let's hope it's not like another like October, right? But no, I think they've set themselves up well, and they don't have to take themselves or their music so seriously in the second album either. It could be something more fun. We'll see. So,
Right,
but yeah, I'm
right.
excited about it. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that was
A
Inhaler.
brief
Finally,
review. Yes.
finally, a complete review of Inhaler song by song. If you're listening to this, again, I would make this disclaimer when I write you know, um, the episode description के इसको audio में सुने तो you would be able to hear our reviews while the songs are playing. I don't know how YouTube will kind of like play it.
Yes.
Will it like mute our voices as well along with the songs? I know they will try and mute the songs because उसमें आ जाएगी
Yeah,
copyright.
copyright strike.
हाँ तो वो they will try to like reduce the volume of the songs, so that means कि हमारी बीच में जो बात कर रहे थे
Yeah, we don't know what it will
will
sound
हाँ
like. We'll
लेकिन
see.
what that will sound like, but on the audio versions, everything, you'll hear it all. Hopefully, I don't know what the songs इसमें कैसी आवाज आ रही थी, क्योंकि I was literally playing off my phone. But yeah, it's a good episode. I enjoyed it. Again, let's get together again for reviewing Surrender.
Mm-hmm.
40 songs, one story. And then and yeah, I think well, um, look forward to new music.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, by the way, Hassan Rahim की नई album आने वाली है.
I
I don't know if you've
have
listened
been
to Hassan Rahim.
I have been listening to him a lot more recently. Yes, like all the not the best, like not the known ones. Outside of those
Yeah,
records,
I've
I've been listening to him.
yeah,
Yes.
he's definitely on my playlist. So um I don't know how it will be. Will it be new songs, or is this going to combine all the songs that he's already done or released and combine them into an album? That would be interesting.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
looking
looking to
forward
that.
to that. Looking forward to that. Okay. All right, man. Thank you so much. It was a good episode.
All right.
Enjoyed it.
Okay. Let's talk
All
to
right. Cheers.
you. All right.